Hello, everybody. If you're watching this, it means you are about to have a jump session. All right. So this document right here is broken down with all the guidelines on how to have a jump session. The first thing you got to figure out is where are you going to have a jump session? There's a few different options you can do. One of my favorite ones is a low rim. Okay. Low rim is literally just a basketball hoop that you can adjust to below standard height, which is 10 feet. This is one of my favorite ways to have a jump session. It is a big reason why I got to the level I'm at. One of the benefits to this is that it's really fun. Also, if you're mid-training cycle and you're really fatigued, it is a way to have a jump session without worrying about how low you're jumping because of how tired you are. So highly suggest doing this method if you are trying to learn how to dunk. Very effective strategy. All right. The second method is doing the session on a 10-foot rim. So this is the ideal scenario if you're already dunking or if you are very close to dunking. That's like if you're touching around 10-4, 10-5, 10-6, and you're having a good day, I would try to attempt to dunk on 10 feet. And obviously if you can dunk on 10 feet, keep yamming on a 10-foot basketball hoop. Now, if you don't have access to a basketball hoop or if you don't care about dunking, maybe you are an ultimate frisbee player that's trying to jump higher, or maybe a volleyball player that doesn't care about dunking. One thing that you can do is just touch a high object. This can be a Vertec. When I was younger, and I live in Florida, so it would rain every single day during the summer. Sometimes I couldn't get to a hoop. I would literally just try to touch my ceiling. My ceiling was 10'8" at the time, and you want to put the object at a height that you can barely touch, or maybe if it's 10 feet, something you can like get your fingers barely over the rim or anything like that. Something that's going to force you to jump with a lot of effort. Now, if you don't have access to something like that, two things you can do. Box jumps is a very good alternative. I like doing that. So, like a good example is a couple weeks ago, the floor was too slippery, couldn't dunk on the basketball court. So I went in the turf area in the gym, set up boxes as high as I could, and just try to see how high of a box I can jump. And then finally, just an open space. Worst case scenario, you can literally go out in the middle of the street, do a max approach, and just jump up into the air as high as you can. So these are all really good alternatives and options that you can do for the jump session. Now, as far as how to have the jump session, the first thing you're going to do is warm up, right? So usually we write in isometrics and an extensive warm-up for you to do. Once it's time to actually start jumping, you don't want to start directly max effort. You want to build up from 10% effort all the way to 100% effort. This is especially important if you have or have had a history of tendon pain. And then once you progressively build up to 100%, the way I do it on a hoop is like try to touch the net. Then I progressively touch higher and higher on the net until I'm at the rim. And then I start with baby dunks and then progress up the intensity there. And you can do this with anything. Low rimming, touching a high object, in an open space. Just progress the effort up. Once you're at 100%, you are at you're ready basically to start what benefits you the most in the jump session, which is doing the jumps with a full approach and max effort. It is very important. This might be literally the most important thing to jumping higher is practicing with a max approach and with 100% intent. At the end of the day, that is the highest, most intense thing that you can do, the thing with the most specificity to jump higher. All right. So make sure it's full approach and max effort. As far as how long to have a jump session for, now there's two approaches that you can do. One is the quantity approach. Second one is the quality approach. The quantity approach was extremely crucial for my success as an athlete. And I literally just jumped for as long as I could. When I was 15, 16 years old, my jump sessions averaged around 2.5 hours long. They could go up to anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. On the extreme end of things, someone like Jordan Kilgannon, I remember the first time I ever dunked with him, he dunked for 5.5 hours. And the only reason he stopped is because we were all really tired and hungry and wanted to leave the gym. So the quantity approach is recommended if, one, you're healthy enough to do it, and two, if you don't have a long history of jumping. So if you're a beginner or you haven't put in a lot of jump reps over the course of your life, you want to just get as many reps of jumping as you can. Again, with full approach and max effort. And that is going to move the needle a lot in terms of your progress as an athlete, in terms of learning jump technique. If you're trying to touch a 10-foot rim, eventually it's going to get to the point in the session where fatigue hits and your vertical starts to drop, right? Ideally, you are able to get to a low rim. What I used to do is I would warm up on a low rim, get to the point where I'm dunking on 10 feet, dunk on 10 feet, get too tired to dunk on 10 feet, and then I would lower the rim back down. And then you can just use these alternatives as needed as you get fatigued. All right. So that's the quantity approach. Now the quality approach is get as many high quality jumps as you can. So there's going to come a point, like I said earlier, where your vertical starts to drop. That's usually where you want to cut the session if you're going for the quality approach. This is something, if you're a more experienced athlete or you have a history of injuries, tendon pain, anything like that, you don't want to jump really far into fatigue because your body's going to start breaking down. So the point where usually this starts hitting you can get about 20 to 30 jumps in, and then the quality really starts to break down. That's where you want to cut the session. In terms of time period, this is usually around the 30-minute mark in a session. So if you're going for the quality approach, sessions usually take 30 to 45 minutes. As far as rest periods, how long should you rest? This varies a lot with different athletes. My suggestion is 30 seconds on the low end. And then this can be upwards to 5 minutes. So someone who's on the low end is John Evans, right? He jumps literally like every 20 to 30 seconds when he's jumping. He has really good cardio, and he can still maintain high quality in his jumps, and he does that so he can stay warm. Once he starts resting longer than about a minute, 2 minutes, he just starts cooling down, and then things start getting achy, and it's not good. For me, I usually like to rest around a minute in between each jump. I've seen upwards of 5 minutes. Going back to Jordan, when he dunks, he's trying to maximize his vertical each jump. And he's not really affected by those long rests. So for him, it's like if you're trying to do heavy 90+% singles of squat, you're going to rest a few minutes in between each jump. So that's if you want to like maximize the height of the jump. So varies a lot, depends on the person. Play around with it. Try shorter rest periods, try longer rest periods, see which one allows you to jump the highest. That's number one. And then also allows you to stay healthy. If you play a sport, the days that you play and you're feeling good, those are the perfect times to practice your jumps. When I was having basketball practices every single day, if I was feeling good, I will build the jumps in during games and scrimmages, right? I'm jumping as hard as I can mid-game. During warm-ups, perfect time to practice those jumps. Post-practice, I used to have my sessions right after my practices and games when I was feeling good. This is assuming you are healthy enough to do this, by the way. But that is the last way that you can build in those jump sessions. So that's pretty much it. That is how you have a jump session. This is the most important thing in our training. Let me know if you guys have any questions.